The window into its final few hours. So we want to know if you're happy with your club's transfer business. Just use the hashtag Kelly and Righty.
United against Wolves next, a team that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer may fear looking at the head-to-head results from the last couple of seasons. There is some positive news, though, with the signing of midfielder Bruno Fernandes. That was confirmed on Thursday.
For us, it was... we're just happy to finally get it over the line. He's a player that we've said months, but we followed him for years. And but he's grown gradually in that period as well. More and more mature, more and more assured performances. Is a great leader of his team, and that was and even with all the speculation that's been around him, probably every club in the world, in Europe has been linked with him, and he's stayed focused and played some fantastic football for Sporting. Tells everything about how professional he is, and when you get to see him and meet him here, he's such a fantastic human being. We want players who this means a lot to, and as you say, he's a winner. He hates losing. I've seen him myself, you know, but he uses that anger in a good way to play better and help his teammates, and he's an absolute top. He was fantastic captain for Sporting, and he's going to come in here and be a leader as well. I've spoken to him about that. Just be yourself. He's fit enough to play, and he'll be involved, definitely. He'll be in the squad. Let's get the training out of the way today. He's had, of course, a few hectic days now, and even with his little daughter's 3-year birthday yesterday, so I don't know how much he'll be involved, but he's in the squad.
He's in the squad. What have they bought, Andy?
He's in the squad to play him.
Yeah,
He'll
exactly.
be involved at some point. I mean, come on.
It's not like they don't need someone like that.
And it's not like he's not match fit or anything.
No, exactly. He's been at the heart of it for Sporting all season, like he always was. And I think a lot of people will have looked at him, will have looked at highlights of him, and will look at the numbers. And it's fair enough to look at the numbers and to look at the goals, because you know, he scored 33 goals from midfield last season, 20+ assists as well. And I think firstly, there's more to his game than that, and there's more to him than a player that's come from a big Portuguese club to the Premier League, because when he was a teenager, he went to Italy and played at Novara, Udinese, Sampdoria, and that is a huge deal. I think especially at Udinese, where he starts making it in the top flight. You look at the goals and assists there, but really it was what he learned. He started out playing in front of the back four, and so he learned a whole range of passing. He could always dribble, he could always score goals, but he learned another part of the game there. And you know, Micah, you know what it's like, what you learned tactically in Italy. It was a little finishing school for him before he went back to Portugal and made it at a big club. And at Udinese, he worked quite closely with Antonio Di Natale, who's their best ever player, who could have gone to Juventus, but who didn't, because his family were happy and safe there. And he took Bruno Fernandes on as like a sort of pet project. He was like, right, this is how you strike the ball. This is how your body shape has to be. This is when you let go of the ball, and this is when you don't let go of the ball. This is where you place yourself when you're not on the ball. And he just painstakingly went through everything with him. And to have a player of that standard, of that technique, not only give you the advice that helps you kick on, but the confidence by showing you, right, I think you're special and I'm going to work on you. I think that's very, very important. So for him, he spoke English before he went to Italy. He speaks perfect Italian now. And to have that sort of cultural adaptability, I think is very important. Like now, when you see players of that sort of potential, normally when they come from Portugal to the Premier League, they're teenagers, or they're 20 or they're 21. But he's a man. He's been through it all. He's been through all sorts of stuff at Sporting as well.
Why have they taken so long, Andy, in respect, when you look at his numbers, and it's obvious that he's got something, why have they taken so long to for him to get to a club of this stature or a league of our league. Is it disrespectful to the Portuguese league?
Yeah, but I think it's understandable. I think when you look at second-tier European leagues like Portugal and the Netherlands,
but 33 goals in any league from midfield is magnificent.
Yeah, it really is. And I think it's not just that; it's the way he runs the game.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you get the Italian side of his breeding, the fact that he can actually manage the game, and it's something that Manchester United. He could do a good job for a lot of Premier League clubs, but that's what Manchester United specifically have been missing out on. Sporting have been playing hardball with him, and you know he's not the sort of throw his toys out the pram sort of player who's going to go, right, well, I'm going to go on strike. He was always going to get on with it, and that's what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was saying there. Even with all this speculation, he's been linked with Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester City were thought to be quite close at the beginning of last summer, and he's just got on with it as if nothing was happening, really. And I think that shows you the sort of character they've got. But this window, Sporting were desperate for the money. So it was always going to happen. It was just a case of when Manchester United and them were going to get to that level where they could quite agree.
Yeah, that was the report, wasn't it? That when they realised quite how desperate Sporting were for the money, that they dropped the fee that they were prepared to play for Bruno Fernandes. But I think that then that problem got resolved, obviously, and he's ended up at Old Trafford. From what Andy's saying, Manchester United fans can be justified in being really excited.
Very excited. I think, like you mentioned, like the holding midfielder, he could do number 8, he could be number 10, you know, free kicks. And we've seen there with the amount of goals he scored, if he can score 8 goals from now to the end of the season, it's going to be an unbelievable contribution to Manchester United. If he can get anywhere near the statistics and what everybody's talking about him, he's going to be a great signing. To me, he's probably going to be a good sign if he gets near those, because they're phenomenal numbers he's putting up.
It's funny the way it was reported in the Portuguese press, because when there's a signing of over €8 million, they have to announce it to their stock market. And so they broke down the fee bit by bit by bit. And they were saying 55 million in terms of euros, in terms of your initial fee, plus 10 million collective prizes, according to collective achievements, and another 15 million according to individual achievements. So, like if he wins the Ballon d'Or or something like that. But it was funny the way they reported it. These 10 million being easily achievable objectives, and like they're talking about the Champions League. United feel like a little way off to me, but so that shows you the sort of confidence that they've got in his ability in Portugal. In that, well, you stick him in this team, and United are Champions League contenders.
Yeah.
Well, he said he wants to come in and help Manchester United to win. I mean, I know that's what players say, but you feel like if he is that missing link that he's being sort of explained as, then it could well be that makes the difference for Manchester United. But there's a real Portuguese contingent in action this weekend. It's not just Manchester United mostly, it's the Wolves players. There's so many Portuguese players in there. You've got Moutinho, Neves, Jota, Rui Patricio, all in the Wolves line.
Yeah, George Mendes.
But they did. But there's also that they all won the 2019 Nations League together as well, didn't they?
Yeah,
top team they were.
Jota was special.
Yeah.
When he was in the Championship, when we played against him at Villa, he was unbelievable. Neves as well. They've just got a real good core of Portuguese players at this time. It always seems to happen every couple of years. To get the players just used to.
Yeah, but then you can't ignore the fact that they've got somebody who can literally get the best Portuguese players who are emerging and wherever they're going in George Mendes. But the fact is to get those players, and like you mentioned, in the Championship, the confidence that they had in those players going to the Championship, because you're not going to tell me that they didn't say to them, once you will go up. Don't worry, you will be going. And they have, and they've kicked on.
But what position do you see this Hernandez playing in terms of their midfield? Where does Pogba fit into this? Where does everyone, United fans love McTominay, so he's got a role. No, Fred's been outstanding over the last couple of weeks.
I think it's creativity. If you can play the number 10, even if he's holding, as long as you get somebody from Manchester United who's trying to look to get the ball into areas and pass through lines, like I've heard that he likes to do. When you hear about Bruno Fernandes, he wants to make a difference with the passing. If he's playing in an offensive role where he can do that, then he's got pace in Rashford, hopefully once he comes back, Martial, Daniel James, people to run onto the balls. I think that definitely going to be playing him in an offensive midfield role.
It's about setting the tempo, isn't it? It's about that he can do as well with his passing. And I think people will look at his pass completion numbers and think they're a bit flaky. It's because he attempts a lot of difficult passes.
Yeah.
And I think you've got to bear that in mind. And that's really important. And how often do United fans really feel that at Old Trafford anymore? You know the sense you get when you go and watch Liverpool at Anfield, of they're going to absolutely swarm a team.
Yeah.
And you used to feel that with United at Old Trafford. I don't think you feel that anymore. In the short term, though, because he's been playing with a reasonably weak Sporting team, but still be leading them, he can play on the counter as well, which I think is quite important, especially with the forward players they've got.
But I think where you're getting to is, if they're all fit, and Pogba obviously coming back from his operation, who misses out?
Yeah, who does miss out?
It's interesting to see if him and Pogba can play together. I would think yes. Whether Pogba stays there long term is
he more a replacement for Pogba?
I wonder if he might be.
There's talk from his agent, Pogba's agent, that they're looking. I mean, he's more or less said that, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's changed the way United's will to get this deal over the line, because at the start of the season, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was very passionate about, I am building my team around Paul Pogba. And those of us who watch Paul Pogba and love him would think, well, about time too. They made him like this world record player, and it's just like, yeah, if you could just fit in there, or you could just fit in there, which is ridiculous. You build around a player like that, and he never really had that luxury, did he?
Yeah, but the team's slowly starting to get better and better. I wouldn't be saying sell Pogba now. I'd be saying, well, actually, let's keep Pogba. Let's just see how it goes over the next 6 months or a year, and take it from there, because you don't want one good player to come in and another to go out the door. You want to sort of get them together and see if it can work.
If any team, if you can get Pogba and get Paul Pogba playing like we know he can, and we're still saying it even up to this point, he's been there for a few years now, he's gonna hurt.
How highly do you rate him, Righty?
I rate him for ability-wise, as one of the best. He can be one of the best. He's won the World Cup. He's proven on that stage what he's capable of doing. And I'll go with Andy. If you're going to build your team around him, I don't think he's going to let you down, because his ability is going to get people playing. He's
been sort of hampered by the sort of mindset of, well, if we paid all that money for him, he can play anywhere then. That's rather than giving him a position to make his own. Wolves, though, this weekend, and we're talking about a little way into the future for Manchester United in terms of giving Fernandes time to adapt, in terms of Pogba coming back from injury. But Wolves this weekend are potentially the type of team that can cause Manchester United, cause everybody problems, but they can particularly cause Manchester United problems, because where their strengths are where Manchester United's vulnerability is.
Yeah, and when you look at someone like Jimenez, before we even get onto Traore and Neves and then Donker, I really like as well. You know, Doherty. You know, when you look at their team, they can attack you in any way. That's why you can get someone like Conor Cody. He can just do that diagonal ball and open you straight up. They could play it through the middle, through Neves and Moutinho, into people like like Jimenez, who holds it up really well. And then you've got Traore, who now looks to me like he gets it. You know what I mean? He hardly loses the ball now. His final ball's brilliant. He's starting to add goals to his game. Talking about a team, for me now, with the way that the top four's going, we know that Liverpool, Man City are there. Wolves can break into that. And I'm quite confident that that's probably what they will be looking at, because they can see the teams around them. It's not happening for them. They are in the ascendancy. And with the players they've got, I think that Wolves are going to really make a charge for the top four.
It's a good opportunity, isn't it, for them to do it now? Because, as you say, the top three are far and away. What I find quite interesting about Wolves, Micah, is the fact that they've got so many miles on the clock in terms of, like, their season starting back in July and all the rest of it. It took them a while to get their Premier League season going. But now, they're not just continuing to get results, they're finishing games so strong. They must be so fit.
Yeah, it looks like he's got him under a strict regime. He comes out, he says he wants everyone to work hard. But sometimes when you're playing well and you're getting results, it just gives you that confidence. You know, when you're playing well, you don't feel tired, do you? No. You only feel tired when you're losing games. It's true, though, isn't it?
True, yeah.
And,
you do.
You know, he's got him playing a system which everyone knows the jobs. I thought he did just a lovely tweak where he put Doherty and Traore sort of down that right-hand side, because he was playing sort of a 3-5-2 before when it was either or. Now he's put them down together, so Doherty's doing the defensive and Traore's just got the licence to go forward. But I'm excited by that team, and I agree with you. I think as long as they don't get any injuries, I believe they could challenge for that top four.
Going to be an interesting day out for Manchester United. Whoever happens to be at left back, who would you pick?
Williams.
Yeah.
Miranda Williams. I think he's fantastic. He's tenacious. He just loves to tackle. He's like an old school defender, you know, like everyone's talking about going forward, and which he can do as well. But he loves to tackle, and he looks quite mature for his age as well in terms of
against
position.
Traore, Micah?
Sorry?
Up against Traore with that, you know, look at the size of this guy.
Well, I've tried to race Traore in training.
Did it happen?
And it absolutely burnt me. And I thought I was quick, so... To be honest, I don't think anyone can stop Traore. I think you have to double up on him, because one versus one, he can destroy absolutely everyone. But I would prefer Williams than a short.
He is, for me, that Traore is getting into the realms now. You heard how Jurgen Klopp was talking about him. You know, is eulogising about him. What you've got to start doing now is you've got to start making sure that while the game's building up, you've got to be getting ready to get there and stop it at source, rather than once he gets his head up, you're in trouble.
And that's where they cause Liverpool problems. Last week, Thursday, I can't remember, whatever day it was.